Another Game 7 loss for the Maple Leafs, another Game 7 loss for the Shanaplan era. And certainly things have to change this time around. If you were in the building like I was on Sunday night, Maple Leaf fans have made it very clear they're looking for change, and I agree with them. These are the three things that have to change for the Maple Leafs this offseason. We'll begin with number one, and that's Mitch Marner, the local kid. So much promise, drafted and developed. He showed up. He was a wizard on the ice. He's been unbelievable throughout the regular season and very good at times during the playoffs. But in the biggest games, it just hasn't been there for him. And unfortunately, the prophecy of the local kid drafted and developed, it just never played out that way for Mitch Marner. And something's got to change with the core pieces. And ultimately, for 9 years, that's been Matthews, Nylander, and Marner. Well, Auston Matthews and William Nylander, they're not going anywhere. They're locked up. The team is committed to them. The team tried to commit to Mitch Marner. He chose not to do that. Now they need to shake his hand and let him go. They've got to have tangible change to the core players, and ultimately Mitch Marner represents that the most. You can't continue to spend this much money on 3 or 4 players. And if Marner were to stay, it's going to cost a fortune. You can't do it. You've seen enough. It's not about being impatient anymore. This is 9 years into his career. 9 years in pro sports is an eternity. It's time for Mitch Marner to move on, and I think that's in the best interest of the team and ultimately the player. Number 2, John Tavares, another prophecy, right? The local kid that was going to sign on July 1st and bring a cup to his hometown. That's what John Tavares was going to represent when he signed here 7 years ago. Well, it just never played out that way. He's been a great Leaf, great representative of the team, a true professional. This is more about his future than anything else. He'll be 35 years old in September. You cannot continue to pay older players big money. And the truth is, as the Florida Panthers series went on, the speed got too much for John Tavares. He blended into this series way too often. And at 35, I think the wheels eventually are going to fall off. He's had a great career. I would argue a Hall of Fame career and a great 7 years in Toronto. But again, the core 4, they've had their time. It just hasn't been enough. You need a second-line center in Toronto that is wired differently than Auston Matthews. And John Tavares is wired way too similarly. He sees the game in a very similar way. He reacts to things on the ice in a very similar way. Matthews needs help. It was going to be Tavares 7 years ago. In many ways, he brought help, but he needs a different form of it now. He needs a younger kid with more bite, with more grit, that plays the game differently. A second-line center, that's got to change. So John Tavares is going to have to move on. And at number 3, it's the architect of the core 4. It's the man himself, Brendan Shanahan, who's been here for 11 years. And when he got here, he did a remarkable job of reconnecting with the history of this team, allowing the fan base to reconnect with the alumni. He obviously committed to the core 4 philosophy that had so much promise, so much hope, and fans 100% collectively supported it. But he was too stubborn for too long. He saw it like everyone else 3, 4, 5 years ago. You can't keep overpaying the core players. You can't keep committing to them getting the job done in the biggest moments when they continue to show you that they can't do it. And I think if Shanahan remains here, number 1 and number 2, the Marner and Tavares takes, I'm not sure they change because he's been so committed. He's been so pot committed to the core 4 philosophy and believing at some point it would blossom and at some point it would win. I also think Brad Treliving's done a really good job of nipping and tucking throughout the season. 2 years on the job, building this team up in goal, on defense, making some depth decisions as well. He needs to be able to breathe here. He needs to be able to make decisions. I don't think he can ultimately do that if Brendan Shanahan is still the man at the top. So these are the 3 moves. Those are the 3 moves that have to happen this offseason for the Maple Leafs.